What's up, Fubula fam? Team Wood Games dropped an unbelievable update for Super Auto Pets. There is actually just too much to get into for this particular video, but we'll cover some of the other details later. Just some of the big highlights. There's now a subscription model where you can get special cosmetics and extra features where you can spectate arena games and stuff like that, but nothing that actually affects your gameplay or access to pets. So that's pretty cool. Just a nice way to support the developers. Plus, we now have mascots, which are kind of like Super Auto Pets version of Little Legends in TFT, which is awesome. Another way to just customize your experience, which is super rad. And a bunch of bug fixes. We can get into all this another time. But the big stuff, and we teased it in a previous video when this was on the test server, but there are some massive nerfs and changes to the pets. The highlights: Guinea Pig is even better than before, which is awesome. We were already playing Guinea Pig in our custom pack, so this is a huge win. Check out that video if you want to see why you should be playing Guinea Pig in your custom pack. So we don't need to be sold there. We didn't need a buff. We're playing that anyway. But some big things to note in the context of custom pack, at least. Jellyfish no longer counts itself. Pug is now a tier 3. Salamander is only once per turn. And Blobfish is now a tier 4. It got some buffs for being a tier 4, but it's still a tier 4. Then also Clownfish is tier 4. And there's a bunch of other changes. I recommend that you check them out. Some buffs, some other nerfs and stuff. Eel is now tier 3. Bunch of things to check out here, but there are the main things that really affect custom pack. And if you ever want to check out the patch notes, you can always just click this button here on the Steam client. You look great today. Thank you, Team Wood Games. And you can check out the latest patch notes right there. So if you ever want to read it for yourself, you can do it there. But the big thing to consider with all these nerfs is that essentially the base pets that you would play with in your custom pack are dead. There is like no reason to really play them anymore. You know, Clownfish being tier 4, Blobfish being tier 4, Pug being tier 3, Jellyfish not counting itself. That's a huge nerf to the level up package. More importantly for custom pack though, Pug would help you leapfrog into having level 2s sooner than you should, and it was easier to find when it was tier 2. And then Clownfish and Blobfish being tier 3s made it easier to get free stats by just playing Clownfish for a hot minute, and then Blobfish plus Pill was really easy to assemble. Now Blobfish plus Pill is just as hard as pilling a turtle. It's not something that's like super common that you can really like degen roll for. So I've been testing customs in arena and in ranked since the update came out, and it's with a heavy heart that I have to say goodbye to that great group of pets, because essentially they're not good enough anymore. So my latest deck that I am playing in customs, I've been winning a bunch of arenas, I haven't lost a ranked game yet, is this list right here. It's the usual suspects in tier 1. This hasn't changed at all. The only difference is I'm playing Cricket instead of Possum, and that's because there's more of a summons package in this custom pack. And we're not playing Strawberry anymore. Essentially the buy sell is just not as good because you don't have Pug and other shenanigans to lean on later. Plus, you just don't need a free spot open all the time. Having a free spot open all the time in the past was really good, in case you found something like Pug or Clownfish when you're ready to level up, just to get a cheaper pair, right? Because you could sell it, only cost you 2 gold instead of 3. And having room to always Blobfish Pill, because finding Blobfish and Pill was a lot easier before. Since they're a lot harder, I don't play any of those pets in my custom pack anymore. I still play Pill because Pill is still really strong, but I don't play that package anymore. So to replace that package, there's more summoning stuff, which is why Cricket is in the mix. So maybe it should be Possum if you play enough Faint stuff, because 2-3 is really good, but we're trying out Cricket for now. So same deal here. The foods are now Peach and Bacon. I actually really like these foods. I know there's an argument for Blueberry, and I wouldn't fault anyone for playing Apple Blueberry. I think that's the other package that you might want, assuming you're not playing a Strawberry custom pack. But I really like that if we skip ahead to our tier 3s, for example, just real quickly. I'm not going to spoil everything just yet, but Camel loves having some Peach, and then I feel like Ox loves having some Bacon. So I just like that flexibility of giving a certain pet real extra of what it wants. And I guess a better example is Dodo, right? So Sure, you're happy to apple either of these like you would in Turtle Pack, but you would so much rather give a Dodo Bacon and a Camel Peach. So that's why I want to play both of those. So going to tier 2, we're taking, we had to replace basically the Pug, Jellyfish, Salamander carry situation. So now we have Yak and Peacock, basically because these are going to be like our tier 2 carries that we could use. I'm trying out Koala. I think it can be pretty good in the mid game. I think it's worth trying out. I'm going to show some of the synergies now. So in combat, right, it's going to help anything that survives one fight, right? So like, for example, you have your Peacock up front. Let's say you gave it some Duckling boosting, some Peach boosting, right? It's just automatically going to give it +1/+1 just for surviving a fight or surviving one hit, right? So it at least does something in the early mid game. Obviously, you can help grow Yak in the early mid game, but also we are playing Leech. So with Leech in the mix, I think Koala does get a little bit better because that way you don't have to always do the combos of having Leech kill a Stork. And honestly, I don't think the Strawberry package is worth it to have the Dove combo from Star Pack. That's why I'm not playing it, because there's plenty of things the Leech could faint over time. You know, for example, like a Spider. Or you can just have Koala and it's helping grow that pet that's getting hit by Leech. So that's the package right now for tier 2. Pretty much anything else that you would expect. Spider is a new addition. Again, more faint stuff. We want to have more pill targets. We don't have like Blobfish. And that directly affects our tier 3s. So there's no Puppy. We're playing every pet that adds a toy except for Puppy, because hitting Puppy off Spider is just so bad. So we want to make sure our hits are really, really good. And Beluga Sturgeon, I think, is a really, really strong, just all-encompassing pet. You're happy to pill this randomly just to basically get a Dolphin early and then also have Rice later, so you have more money on an important turn when you want to roll. And then also it's an insane hit off of like Stork on turns 5 and 6, right? Because your Stork faints, hits a Sturgeon, then that turns into a Dolphin. Same deal, similar like when your Spider turns into a Sheep. You know, like you can just get a lot of like chained summons, and in the mid game that can be really devastating against certain builds. And we were playing Lemur because we have a lot of these pets that want big booties. We have Peacock, we have Yak, and you'll see the tier 3s in a second, but they all benefit from a Garlic. So it's nice that we can just get a temporary Garlic for 2 gold, especially even before tier 3 is unlocked. So that's why we are playing Lemur. And I'm trying out Doorhead Ant. I haven't really gotten enough games to test it out yet, but in theory, this should just be another pet that's got just a lot of stats early on that can help make sure you don't like bleed out in the beginning. Before we were playing stuff like Shrimp because we were doing like a ton of buy selling. Now we're just trying to sell off our early tier 1s to transfer some stats to some better units or some money, and not really like ever purchase these things again past like turn 4 most likely. So moving on to tier 3s, this is the big revelation right now in custom. Is I've grinded a bunch of the weekly pack recently that was all health scaling, and Guineafowl was one of the best pets in that pack, and it got me thinking that Guineafowl is basically a Camel, and in my opinion it might actually just be better than Camel, especially in custom packs. So that is the purpose of this video, is to convince you to put Guineafowl in your custom pack. So let's just compare the two for a second. Camel, it's a 2/4 tier 3. It gives +2/+2 when it gets hurt. Guineafowl, 2/4 tier 3, does 2 trumpets, which is essentially +2/+2. If you think about it, every 2 trumpets you get, you're going to get a 2/2 or a 4/4 or a 6/6. Now, there is some major differences. Of course, Camel feeding a unit that wants to live longer, that benefits really from getting those stats, could be super duper powerful. On the other hand, Guineafowl guarantees that you have a unit that gets summoned later, right? So if you have any type of summoning triggers, you know, for example, like a shark later, or a turkey, or, you know, you have a musk ox in the very back, or an ox in the very back of your formation, that gives that some extra oomph, right? Where the Camel would not. Also, the Camel is better with Leech. We have to give credit where credit's due, okay? You can't really do that combo with Guineafowl. Trumpets only matter in combat, in case you didn't know. But the other nice thing is that the Guineafowl is less position dependent. Typically, the camel, you want it to feed a very, very specific unit. And things can be awkward. So for example, let's say you want the camel to feed your ox, but you would love to like hatching chick boost your camel. You can't really do that with those three together, right? But you could still have the hatching chick make the guinea fowl really big, and then later on those stats just show up as a big golden retriever. The other thing that I think just really matters where the camel can get a lot weaker is I am playing eggplant, and I think everyone should be playing this food in their custom pack. It is really, 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 really good. It's one of these foods, and it's the same philosophy behind lettuce, where yes, lettuce, it sometimes can be difficult to buy on turn 5 or turn 6 to have the money for it, right? And then after those 2 turns, you can no longer use it to buff your camel, your guinea fowl, your oxes, right? But later in the game, when you transition your board to several tier 5s, or more importantly, like a bunch of tier 6s, lettuce is now a food that actually does something, and you target what you're buffing. And I really, really like foods from the early tiers that you wouldn't mind purchasing later in the game beyond their tier. It makes for way, way powerful food. And that's what eggplant really does here. Is this is a food that can definitely mess up your opponents on turn 5 and turn 6, but even on turn 11, 12, or 13, this can be a very, very devastating food. So I would not leave home without it. If you're not sold on guinea fowl, even after watching the game that I'm going to show you, I highly recommend that you put eggplant in your custom pack. It will scam games just like a scorpion can. It's very devastating. So that's the big revelations. The other changes is that basically we're playing pets to meet the synergies that we have now added to our pack, that the level up package and the strawberry package isn't there anymore. So usual suspects, we're playing penguin, skunk, turtle, of course, hawk, but we now have our tier 4 toy pet. We also have slug because we have a bit of a summoning situation happening. Same thing with deer over tar, because we want actual summons. And then we're playing blowfish because we do have this whole like combo of juicing booties and hurt pets and stuff. Like there's a general theme of like either make a peacock big or a camel or a guinea fowl. So if you somehow whiff on these, it's like, oh, you can always get the blowfish. The blowfish definitely subject to change. Could be on the chopping block, right? Like you can't really leech this thing. So, but personally, I'm a big fan of snipers. I think snipers and summons are your ways to like get out of difficult jams when you're getting outscaled or you're not getting good scaling. So they can just give you wins that you wouldn't get otherwise. So I'm trying out blobfish. I'm trying out blowfish. There's a very good chance that maybe it should still just be blobfish, but so far I have not missed blobfish at all. Because basically once it gets to tier 4, right, your cheaper level ups are really coming from crow. Like crow is 5 gold total to get a chocolate. Blobfish is only 4 gold total, and you'll get the +2/+2, but you have to find a pill. And sometimes keeping a pill locked for that long can be really annoying. Sometimes your pills can be overloaded, right? And if we want to make sure we're using food to keep like camels and guinea fowls and other pets alive or scaled, like dodo, give them that extra attack, holding a pill that long could be really, really bad. So we're going to try no blobfish. I've been trying no blobfish, and so far it's been working out really great. I could see instead of playing maybe the blowfish is perhaps like a cuttlefish. I do really like this pet. I also think orangutan is totally acceptable because it technically is scaling and it doesn't really matter. You also could just play lobster to help with your board transitioning. I think this is the most flexible spot. I'm trying out blowfish right now, but I think it can become a bunch of different things. So moving on, same foods as before. These are the best foods at tier 4. Tier 5, big differences here is we have a strong summon package with shark and turkey. We're also playing poodle because poodle is absurd. Like when you're already ahead, it can just help tempo out your opponent. It also is just obscene scaling with the right units. And then we're playing triceratops because of like the leech combo. Everything else is kind of standard here. Same deal with the foods. And then the tier 6s, the 3 best foods at tier 6. And then we are playing fly now because we have turkey shark, and same deal with saber-toothed tiger. So even though this might not summon more than 1 unit, because we don't have green pepper, you know, it's still gonna pay dividends with shark and turkey and other shenanigans like that. So yeah, that is pretty much the deck. Even though we're not going to do a full like puppy pack degen transition to T-Rex, because T-Rex did get nerfed, you could have situations where like on your board you have like shark, turkey, fly, deer, and T-Rex. And T-Rex every turn will still be buffing turkey, fly, shark, guaranteed, right? So even though it can't hit all 4 friends anymore, I think it's still worth playing. So that is the new comp. The big revelations, though, is that Guineafowl basically gives us 2 ways to hit a camel, because they're almost essentially the same unit. Guineafowl potentially sometimes being a lot better. And then Eggplant to really kind of help scam some wins and mess up our opponent's positioning. We're just going to buy a bunch of these pets. And yep, get a moth in there so we have some tempo. Pick a team, bada bing, bada boom. Nothing too special here. They have triple duck off rip, which is definitely very good. Luckily, we get this round win. I'm not sure how I feel about the new interface for the hearts. I liked when the number was a lot bigger, but whatever. So yeah, we find this. Now, I do want to pause here for a second. We find the marmoset. Now, there is a school of thought where we should just roll twice and try to find like a moth here. Personally, I would rather just take the stats and save the money. Just have 10 gold. You know, it depends on how much greed is in your heart. I think both are like totally acceptable ways of doing things. I think if the beaver hit differently, we might win this next fight, but we end up losing this fight because of the ant, but that's okay. If there is a fight to lose, it's always better to lose round 2 instead of round 1, because we're both going to go back to 6 hearts, but our snail is actually turned on and theirs isn't. So really not the end of the world there. All right, so we're going to level up. And this is an interesting situation. So we actually have the choice between Camel and Guineafowl. And personally, I am team Guineafowl right now. I really like Guineafowl. I think it is actually better than Camel. I'm also in testing mode, so I want to get, we've played with Camel for forever now, so we know how good that is. So let's give Guineafowl a try, but I think Guineafowl is potentially better, and I'm hoping this game proves it to you. So we're going to get a Guineafowl. We're going to cycle some mice to just boost its stats really hard, and we're eventually going to end with this flamingo on our team so it can get even more stats, and then also we'll have this peach. The reason I don't want to start with the Guineafowl up front right now is because they have a moth on their side. So there's a good chance that they might just have like a lot of attack up front. So we'll just guarantee that, and they end up getting a level 2 moth, right? So these 2 units assassinate each other, and now the Guineafowl is going to start racking up. And that spawn helps us win that fight. I'm not sure, we'd have to go back and look, but would the stats on the marmoset actually help us win that? I'm not sure. Anyway, we get a peach. We keep rolling. We're basically rolling for another moth. We can hit it, but I do want to pause here for a second. I'm going to freeze this pill, of course. I get the bacon for the Guineafowl because I know they're going to try and grow this camel. And right now, the camel is... you know, potentially out of range of getting one shot by our Guineafowl. I just see a world where like in the next like turn or 2, we're both going to be fronting our hurt pets. And I want to make sure mine has enough attack to one shot their guy, especially with moth help, but really want to make sure in case I end up selling these moths. All right, so we freeze the pill for the flamingo so we can get stats there. All right, end up just drawing that round. Golden Retriever helped me make sure we get the draw. And this is a great shot for us right here. So we're just gonna pill the flamingo. We're not gonna worry about trying to get a level 2 flamingo. And we're gonna, of course, buy this other Guineafowl. And I think I don't remember if I buy this flamingo or not. Oh, I do, okay, that makes sense. We roll. It's more important to find level ups than get the eggplant tech right now. And then unbelievable shot. We get another pill, and then we also have our Guineafowl level up. Now, I think it is more important to play 5 units this turn. This is another benefit to Guineafowl over Camel, is right now, if we had triple Camel, right, all the Camels would only provide the stats to the Camel behind them, or the unit behind them. But right now, this triple Guineafowl, even though I didn't make it a level 2, they're all gonna feed into one giant golden retriever, which can really make a difference, right? Especially on turn 5, you have a giant unit, it can help back clean up. And then luckily, even though they have the garlic, the moths are gonna make sure we one-shot the Camel. And we ended up not even needing it, but we make a 12-12 at the end. So even if something happened to go problematic there, we ended up making like a pretty huge unit. So we had things pretty covered. We have an unbelievable opening shop here. We just make our half-level moth, and then we just take the lettuce, because why not? There's really nothing else we're rolling for besides foods. And then luckily we roll into the next best food we could ever purchase. So that was a pretty straightforward turn. And then the Guineafowl plus the moths really putting in work. We didn't even need to summon our guy that turn. And now it's time to level up. So let's see what we get. We see a poodle, which is incredible, because right now we only have a tier 3 and a tier 1 on our team. So we're 100% taking the poodle. And then we are going to take the stingray, and we're going to take Stinky Sock. The reason we take Stinky Sock is we don't want to give them any positioning info on the fact that our Guineafowl is going to be up front. We also need to hedge a little bit against skunk, right? Like, we're already beating them with our Guineafowl, right? Like, they know we have level 2, and our Guineafowl's already one-shotting their biggest units. So if they're lucky or hellbent, they're gonna like find a skunk to try and counter our Guineafowl. So I don't want to take a food that is going to invest even harder in a unit that might end up just getting skunked anyway. Now, granted, I could have taken the flashlight, maybe pumped the moth or the poodle or something, right? But unless they tear up into a scorpion, I don't want to ever put anything but the Guineafowl up front. Also, our opponent is about to make a level 2 camel, and they want to make the camel as big as they possibly can. So similarly to the fact that we're afraid of skunk, let's just skunk them. So that way, if they find skunk, maybe it's even, and we'll both skunk each other. And then to round things out, we're just gonna take this deer. Even though it's a little scary because they have hurt pets like Camel, it is a tier 4, and we just know that it's gonna get pumped by Poodle. We also have 2 copies, so it's a little bit easier to level up. And we're gonna keep the Stingray on our team for now, simply because we want, I just want to pause here for a second. That Stinky Sock, I don't know if it really would have mattered because their guy was so low anyway, but really shredding through there. Now, granted, this pug with the Nyla, very scary. They just made a 16 golden retriever immediately, right? Now, the other reason, the other thing I was saying is I was keeping Stingray on my team. I liked scaling this for now, so we can find more Stingrays. We can keep making Stinky Socks. But let's continue here. All right, nice. Our golden retriever gets the dub for us. And another insane shop. I mean, sometimes it's just better to be lucky than good. I'm not gonna be, I'll never say anything different. And we're gonna save the level up so we can see a tier 6. And we know we're gonna keep our deer, so we put the eggplant on that. And this is when things get a little spicy because our eggplant is actually gonna prevent their Nyla from being level 2 because they set up a blobfish for it. So with that mix up there, we were really shredding through their team, and we even had a better golden retriever than they did. So that was an easy win right there for us. So we make our level 2. I decide to go with the Brontosaurus over the fly, mostly because they have this Triceratops, and they had Camel before. So I just had this, I had the fear that fly was going to maybe potentially end up feeding, you know, some kind of hurt pet that they had. It seemed like they have a general hurt theme going on in their custom packs similar to us. So I was a little afraid to play it. I think in hindsight, I probably should have just taken the fly because the Brontosaurus isn't, or excuse me, not the Brontosaurus, the Sauropod is not giving us like a ton of value this turn. Like the 1 gold we get from Brontosaurus is just an extra roll. Yeah, that's great, but it's not like insane, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. The fly is definitely more damage right now. So we're gonna boost the poodle because we know we're keeping the poodle around forever. Do a little rolling. We hit another insano shot where we're gonna have level 2 poodle next turn. And then we just kind of call it a day. Do some mixing up on our positioning on where our eggplant unit is just to keep our opponent on their toes as well. And this round, they do hard roll and find the scorpion, really zapping our situation here. And now this is a situation where a camel might have been potentially better, because getting +4/+4 on one of our existing units versus having a 4/4 later, especially since we don't have like a turkey or anything, isn't that exciting. But also, you know, they made a level 2 Nyla, you know, or level 3 Nyla, excuse me, so they have like a 24/24 out of nowhere, so we weren't going to beat that anyway. So we lose that round, so how are we going to recover? Well, first things first, let's make a level 2 poodle. That's an easy clapper right there. And then same deal, I was just feeling a little, I wasn't feeling fly this game. And then since they had the scorpion, right? This is my thought process. I'm going to end up buying octopus, as you see. My thought process is our Guineafowl has been running amok on them throughout the match. So they've already committed to scorpion. Scorpion is going to be the main way that they kind of stop the Guineafowl from really racking up trumpets and making a giant golden retriever, because everything on their board doesn't really have high attack right now, right? So the Guineafowl is going to kind of go to town. So I don't think they're going to put the scorpion first position again. We're both like high 1700s rating wise. So they know that I'm going to move my Guineafowl, so they're going to move their scorpion. So that's why I really like the octopus here, because I think between the octopus and the deer and the eggplant, I can maybe shift things around and snipe with Chili or the octopus's ability, the scorpion, and then hopefully our Guineafowl just goes crazy like it has in a lot of other fights. So we're going to do a little bit of switcheroo here. We save this for later, so that way we could have even level 3 poodle if we need it. And then come to fight time, we even mess up the positioning there. And it's an easy cleanup. We don't even summon our golden retriever. Win the game with 5 hearts. And without further ado, let's just clip to the moment where I gained my rating points. Let's go. W's. Ooh, the proof is in the pudding right there. That was a classic example of how good Guineafowl, eggplant, and even poodle is in the new custom format, dude. They carried so hard, it's crazy. It's crazy. And the Guineafowl versus the camel is a perfect example. Let's see how many points we get. Ooh, 9 points, 1797, on our way to cracking 1800. I love it. Ooh, get some snack. Gotta get some snacks. Ooh, 690, dude. 690. Let's go. So there you have it. That was the latest game that I had played. It was an arena game, and I had another arena game. Camel was also very good in this game, but I think this last game, the glamorous fangirls that I played as, really showcased how great Guineafowl can be, and I highly recommend that you try it out in your custom pack. But at the very least, I think you absolutely need the eggplant. There's a lot of times where that definitely messed up our opponent, like trying to make a level 2 of something, like with the Nyla to get extra trumpets. But also, just put yourself in our opponent's shoes from this past game. Imagine trying to play against an eggplant when it comes down to positioning, right? It's kind of a nightmare. So, and then also, like, we could have always just replaced the eggplant with another food, like a steak or something. So then you position around the eggplant because you think you know where the deer is going to be, and then it doesn't move your stuff, right? So I highly recommend it. Hopefully it helps you climb in ranked. And if you enjoyed this tutorial and this game and this VOD review, be sure to follow and subscribe to the channel. I do a bunch of content for Super Auto Pets related to ranked and competitive play, especially custom pack. And yeah, I stream on Twitch as well. twitch.tv/fullbellylaughs to catch one of my live streams. I will be streaming all of my team tour matches that I've been doing, and we are the reigning champs right now. We won the league, so let's go. And yeah, if there's anything you think I could have optimized with my play, if there's some things that you think should or shouldn't be in a custom pack, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you crunch the math on whether or not the Guineafowl was better than the Camel, I'd love to know. I haven't done the math just yet. I just finished this game, but it felt really good. Either way, hopefully this was a benefit to you, and I will see you in the next one. Happy sapping.